episode 2 of the Film Bros Ship podcast. I am Tim, and with me is my co-host Patrick. This was unfortunate, buddy. How you doing?
Fuck you, Tim. I got a bag of dog shit lit on fire, ready to be delivered to your house any second now for making me watch this movie a second time.
To be fair, it was going to have to happen eventually. I just had no idea how bad this movie really was. Like, I actually don't think you were definitely making me feel like a little uh-oh in the last episode, but I don't think you sold it hard enough on how bad this movie really is.
It sucks.
Yeah. There is very little redeeming qualities.
It's extremely well-intentioned.
Yeah.
It shares my politics.
Sure.
But it's all preaching to the choir and never really gets very close to funny.
There is maybe 2 times that I get close to anything audible.
Yeah, I know.
And that is it. Otherwise it's like it's so on the nose.
Oh my God, is it ever?
It's so over the top, but without it being. But they never go to full slapstick.
No, it's always trying to like play both sides. Like,
yeah, so it's tonally just lost. And it's an unfortunate attempt, especially because this is clearly trying to be a pseudo sequel to Gross Point Blank.
Spiritual sequel to Gross Point Blank, which is one of my favorite comedies of the 90s, probably of all time, to be honest. And like, I love that movie.
Great movie, and one of the best soundtracks too.
Oh, well.
That movie as well. It's great.
If John Cusack's there and he's a producer in the movie, it's going to have a good soundtrack.
Yeah.
My man is going to get some Joe Strummer in there somewhere. And
yeah.
Like he does here. It's like, it's going to happen.
It's good. And you can tell when it's up there. It is.
Yeah.
But it's, yeah. And so it makes it even more upsetting because it's somewhat connection to Gross Point Blank. And you're just like watching this and you're like, ugh.
Yeah, no, it's a real bummer because he's basically playing the exact same character.
Yeah.
Just, backstory being different.
Yeah.
But it's just like, ugh.
And Alan Arkin is now an OnStar caller.
That's not Alan Arkin.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that's the basic what they did to the character.
Part is yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just to say, like, how do you not recognize the voice of Alan Arkin?
No, obviously I do. I'm just like, it's just like they're trying to like, isn't this funny with the OnStar calls, right? And it's like,
I like that you're calling it OnStar.
I mean, that's basically what it was, right?
But like anybody younger than like
probably doesn't understand that reference.
Remember what OnStar even is?
That's fair.
Remember when GPS used to like be a human being that would talk to you and tell you where to go?
Yeah.
That was called OnStar. It existed for like 3 years.
Yeah, it's upsetting. It's been funny to see all the videos of people putting things up about like our generation realizing that the Super Bowl halftime show is targeting our generation now. And like
has been for like half a decade, and I've been loving it.
It's like, oh no, we're the target audience now. Oh no.
Well, yeah. After like the Who did like the worst halftime show I've ever seen, I was like, we can't do this anymore to the older generation. This is rough for everybody.
Yeah,
we don't want to see them like this.
Well, I mean, but they had some. Yeah, I mean, they definitely were, because wasn't last year was like all of like the greatest like rap R&B people, right? Was that last year?
I mean, yeah. I mean, 50 Cent was there. I don't know if I feel like comfortable calling them all the greatest.
No, I guess not all of them, but you had definitely some legends, obviously, and Snoop was there, and freaking wait, I'm drawing a blank on some of the others. My bad. But anyway,
Eminem, Dr. Dre,
yeah, obviously legend, right? So anyway, that I guess would still be our
Missy Elliott. Missy Elliott was probably the best.
Missy Elliott was cool, yeah. Didn't Missy Elliott show up for somebody else's? Or am I thinking of someone else's?
I mean, probably.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Anyway, regardless. So, yeah. Unfortunate movie, Patrick.
Yeah, I guess we got to talk about this.
Yeah, we got to talk about it. We got to talk about
this was your choice. Explain yourself.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you did this.
All
Go
right.
ahead and use the IMDb if you want.
I'm going to.
I won't judge.
I'm gonna because this convoluted mess, I'm gonna do IMDb. I'm gonna go against my own little rules.
You found it confusing?
No, not confusing. I just don't know how to shorten this one without cheating here.
All right.
A corporation hires a professional assassin to pose as its trade show representative who must organize the wedding of a Middle Eastern pop star, which will allow him the opportunity to kill a Middle Eastern politician. So, yeah. Which, if anybody has not seen Gross Point Blank, he is an assassin who has made some clients upset, and he now needs to kill someone new, and his cover is him going to his high school reunion.
God, Gross Point Blank is such a good movie.
Such a good movie. But it's the basic same premise, right? I have something as my cover, backdrop type of stuff, but I'm really there to kill somebody.
Yeah.
He speaks to a therapist, obviously, in Gross Plank, and here he's speaking to an on-star.
So all this happened because John Cusack read a article about what was going on in Iraq.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I got a riff on this. And 3 credited writers later, who came up with War Inc. And hey, usually when you have 4 credited writers, you get nervous. But hey, 4 credited writers were for Gross Point Blank as well, and it worked out great. This one, not so much.
No. But Gross Point Blank had a tone, and I think it knew what it was doing.
It's so frustrating because like everything it's saying in this movie, War Inc., about like what the Bush administration had been up to, the privatization of war and how disgusting it is. I'm like, yes, I agree with all this, but can you try to be funny?
Yeah.
And it's like it failed at like every turn pretty much.
I know. It really did.
So I guess we should get into this because I don't want to talk about this in movie any longer than I have to.
Well, our main character is Hauser, and that's all. Yeah, I think that's all we get, right? It's just Hauser.
I heard somebody else calling him Brand Hauser. I read that, and I was like, I think I've never heard the word brand, but maybe that's part of the joke.
Oh,
I have no idea.
I don't know. Yeah, because everything is a brand name thing. Maybe I don't know, but yeah,
that's where I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
I think it was Wikipedia. They called him Brand Hauser. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hauser's all I remember.
I just got Hauser, yeah. And Hauser is basically Martin Blank from Gross Point Blank.
Yeah, with like a skunk hair.
Yeah, the weird little white patch thing he's got going on. He does have a backstory of sorts where apparently at some point he had a wife and a daughter, and he was working for the CIA, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was.
And he started to get upset that he felt like he had no problem being a killer, but he wanted to kill bad people, and he felt like he wasn't really killing bad people anymore. And so he decides that he wants out. And this is what leads to his wife and daughter being killed. And this leads to him being like, I guess, whatever, F it all type of deal. And I will just keep being a killer for corporations now, I guess. And I'm going to have a hard time swallowing this disgustingness. So to basically burn my palate to make this go down easy, I'm going to drink hot sauce on a regular basis. It's so on the nose, it's ridiculous. Like, isn't that nuts? Like, you're like, as you're watching this movie, you're like, wow, like we're making this really on the level. Like,
anytime he feels very uncomfortable about all the work he's doing, he does like a shot of hot sauce.
Yeah,
and he keeps on like raising the kelvins to like punish himself, and it's almost never funny.
There's only one time where it gets close to it, and we'll save that.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
Because there's so few things to talk about.
Yeah.
So also want to mention, like, this movie is supposed to like take place in like the near future, where corporations have basically replaced countries. That's according to like the text that we see in the beginning of the movie.
I was really confused by that, and I was really confused by the corporation is headed by the vice president, or the vice president is now no longer in office. All of that was weird to me.
Okay, so yeah, you got Dan Aykroyd playing the former vice president, because this movie takes place in 2008, so it's like right when they know Dick Cheney is going to be out of office. So Aykroyd is playing Dick Cheney, kind of.
But that's his character name. I don't think he has anything else but Mr. Vice President. So he's even referred to as the vice president. So that's what was confusing.
No, yeah, he's referred to the vice president, but he says like former vice president. I left that job like 5 months ago.
Okay, yeah.
And yeah, he's now just like works for Tamerlane,
which is the
which
corporation.
I guess supposed to be just Halliburton,
right?
You know?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So his job is to just like, and the credits, the text, I'm sorry, before the movie actually starts is telling you like, yeah, like, you know, it's all corporations now, and you know, they have their own armies, but sometimes they need stuff done quietly, and they have people for that, and that's John Cusack,
right?
Hauser,
right?
I'll say this: not many actors have ever done depressed as well as John Cusack.
That's for sure. Sure.
He still does depressed very well.
He does.
Even in this shitty movie.
Well, I think that's a disappointing thing because, I mean, on one hand, he is extremely charismatic actor, and it's hard to dislike him. But I think his depression type stuff in this movie almost comes off as bored at times.
Like, or just
he's he's really withdrawn, and I don't think it necessarily was meant to be that way on purpose. And there's a couple of times where all of a sudden there seems to be some life brought back into his performance, but it's rare, and I feel like for most of it is just kind of like, yeah, you don't make me want to be here either.
Yeah, all right. So, like you mentioned before, Hauser uses his GPS as his therapist.
Yeah.
The GPS is called GuideStar, a riff on OnStar, as Tim mentioned.
Right.
Where you can... This was a service that you could get real-time driving advice.
It's funny, you can tell the datedness of cars sometimes that they still have the OnStar button. Then you know,
right.
Yeah, then you know how old the car is.
Oh, well, speaking of dated, you have Montel Williams playing the voice of the GuideStar.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, Montel, remember that? In a minute.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So Hauser's mission is to assassinate Omar Sharif.
Yep.
The way I groaned.
Yep. Yep.
I was like, is that a joke? That's supposed to be the joke? That his name is Omar Sharif?
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
It definitely made me like raise an eyebrow and cock my head like, really? Okay.
Yeah. It's just so lazy. It felt like it's like a placeholder that nobody decided to replace.
Plus, I feel like that is a big problem with a lot of this movie is like lazy and bored and like way too on the nose and not clever.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
exactly.
Like, okay. Like, again, like if you don't like see what is meaning by the hot sauce shots, then it's like you need help if you don't like, you know what I mean? Like you must have failed English class. Like yeah.
Man. So Omar Sharif, God damn it, is the president of an oil company in Uzbekistan.
So, yeah, some kind of Middle Eastern type thing, right? Yeah.
And Hauser's job is to assassinate him at a trade show in Tarakistan,
right,
where they are holding a trade show, and the reason why they have to assassinate him is because he has the audacity to try to create his own pipeline instead of using one that the Americans built.
Yeah, it's like cutting them out or something, and so
yeah, we didn't liberate you so you could create your own pipeline. Is a joke from the vice president, which is it's like yeah, that's good.
Yeah, okay.
Which is about as much as you ever get out of this movie.
Yep,
like,
that's for sure.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So we get some flashbacks in this movie.
Yeah.
To Hauser's time with the CIA. And he's telling his intention to his boss Walken to retire.
What are these names in this movie? The names, and of course, spoilers. When you get to Walken later, he's in a wheelchair. There's so many of these names throughout this movie. You're like, oh my god! And then we'll get to Natalie later too, and her last name.
Right. It's just like, this is a joke? This is like a good joke? Really? We're doing this multiple times?
Like, what are we doing here? With just
It
the
feels
names
like
alone.
They initially intended to have Christopher Walken play this part.
Right.
And then when he passed or something or was busy, they're like, all right, we'll just keep the name anyway. Okay.
Sure.
So anyway, Hauser says he's done with the job as an assassin for the CIA.
Right.
And Walken he's just dismayed. And he says, you and I, Hauser. Well, I'm not going to do it.
Don't do it. Please don't.
His Texas accent, which is...
It's upsetting.
It's not good.
It's real bad.
Ben Kingsley plays Hauser, and we'll get into more of him later, but...
there is one time with that accent that actually made me laugh.
I can't wait to hear it.
It's the one time I got a little audible with it.
Anyway, he says, you and I, Hauser, are part of a brotherhood. All these years, I felt a special bond. Don't you feel that? No. Which was a great John Cusack delivery. I enjoyed that.
Careful, you're getting into the hilarity there. There's not a lot of it.
I had to put something in this category, Tim. I only got a couple more notes. It's not much.
Yeah.
I will say it's a shame Cusack wasn't interested in a legit action career.
I know that's one of my notes. It's one of my notes.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually the few bright parts. There's a couple, there's like literally maybe 2 to 3 times where he's allowed to do some kind of action. The dude actually knows how to fight. He has a fighting background, and he's good at it every time.
He's 6'2".
Yeah.
And at this point in his career, he's been training in kickboxing for like 19 years.
Yeah.
So everything he does in action looks super believable and great. And it's like, man, he could have been Liam Neeson if he wanted to.
If he wanted it, yeah.
He could grab that right now. Why doesn't he? What is he doing?
There was somebody, I wish I remember who it was. It was somebody who's like a legendary badass, and they were asking about people that he like thinks could legitly fight, and they would not want to F with. And I wish I got to look it up because I can't remember who it is off the top of my head. But they said they were like legitly like, I would not want to mess with John Cusack. And they're like, what? Really? John Cusack? And they were going in on like, yeah, that's like, he's actually like legit and kind of scary. Like, I don't want to mess with him. And I wish I remembered who said it, but I remember being like, wow. But even early on, like in his movies, you saw him like say anything, right? He was like training to be a kickboxer.
That's where it started. Yeah. That's where he started learning.
So it's always been there, but yeah, he's always been able to pull off the action when he's been able to do it. And it is kind of like a bummer. And obviously we're doing comedy, but I thought like the biggest bright points in the movie was when he was able to do a little bit of action.
Yeah. Like the 2 scenes. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh man, that looks really good.
I know.
Should have done more of this.
Really should have.
We basically just got this and Con Air. I'm like, and then I guess in the certain parts of Gross White Blank. But
yeah.
Like, damn it!
Like the gas station fight sequence in Gross Point Blank, and also the hall when he fights him again in the hallway of the school.
That's the more of the scene,
which is a great fight scene
where he kills him with a pen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which he somewhat again has a similar moment in this movie, which are kind of like, oh my gosh, there it is again.
Yeah, the wine bottle opener.
Yeah.
Gross Point Blank's a really good movie.
It really is, man. It really is.
Last thing I want to ask about, Tim, for this category is what are these fucking gloves Hauser puts on right before he goes in to save Natalie near the end of the movie?
They looked like there's padding or weights in them or something.
They look like spray painted Nintendo Power Gloves.
Power glove. Anyway,
for the kids who don't understand that reference, Tim was doing was an impression reference of The Wizard, which is a great movie, which you should watch. Which seemed everything in that movie seemed very cool to us at the time it came out.
There was nothing cooler in that era than the Power Glove.
There was a time.
The reality of it is the opposite, but they made it look so cool.
So cool. And Nintendo was so powerful, they made this movie or helped produce or whatever.
Yeah.
And introduced Super Mario 3 to like an entire populace.
Yeah.
This movie, like, what is this? God, that's another movie that's better than this movie.
There was also a hardcore song called from the band Horse the Band, and it was called Cutsman, and it was about the Mega Man villain that had the scissors on his head, and that's Cutman. Yeah, the song starts with them going Power Glove, and then it kicks into the song. It's a really great, fun hardcore song.
I'm gonna have to look up this song later.
Yeah, it's fun.
I feel embarrassed that I don't.
You have to wait towards the end of the song too, when they do the hardcore breakdown, and they start doing the where they slow it down before the build up. I'm not even gonna tell you what it is. Just listen to it. Report back.
Padding this episode out with things we enjoy more than this movie.
I know, because it's not good.
So, what did you give the character of Hauser, Tim? Unless you have something more you want to talk about.
No, I think because honestly, what I was going to add was the action stuff. And I feel like I already come up with a lot of the on the nose stuff and how much is just derivative of Gross Point Blank. So I think I'm giving it a very generous 2.
I gave it a generous 2.5. Yeah,
Okay.
we're in line.
Yeah. And again, it's mostly because it's kind of hard to dock John Cusack because he's just so damn likable.
He really is.
Yeah, so it's just, and then of course, again, there was a couple cool action stuff that I just appreciated. And yeah.
I was looking at his IMDb
every once in a while he
like,
came to life. So
Yeah. No, Cusack still got it when he wants it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm looking at his IMDb when I was looking at this movie, like, this is really the beginning of the end. He really doesn't have a lot more after this. Like, his last, great part was when he was in Chirac. I don't know if you ever saw it. Spike Lee joined.
No, I always wanted to see it. Yeah.
He's really good in it.
Yeah.
And it's like a musical that Spike Lee made about the violence in Chicago.
Right, yeah.
And Cusack plays like the local priest. And like basically, if there's a movie set in Chicago, John Cusack is going to punch a guy until he gets to be in the movie.
Yeah.
And, it's worth it.
There's another great
worth watching
video
if you ever get a chance to watch.
because he's such a hardcore baseball fan.
Yeah, he's a big Cubby fan.
And so he claims to be a fan of both the White Sox and the Cubs. And so like somebody came at him and was like, "You're not a real fan. You can't have both fandoms or whatever." And like John Cusack just goes like, "Oh yeah, let's go." And he just started going on trivia of like both teams, and he embarrassed this guy who challenged him. He knew so much more about both the White Sox and the Cubs, and just completely shut the guy up. And it's like, dude,
I've definitely seen him in more Cub paraphernalia than White Sox paraphernalia, but whatever. It's not like the Yankees and the Mets. God bless.
Yeah, I mean, who cares? I just think it's cool that like you don't mess with this guy. Like he's not going to like embarrass himself. You know what I mean? Like, well.
Well, we won't get into that.
Fair enough.
Let's just say, like, Cusack has had more decades of me being, like, in awe of him than the opposite.
For sure.
So,
remember how good he was in 8 Man Out?
that was a fucking great movie.
I mean, there's a lot of great stuff. And I almost feel like he should have had a bigger career.
If he wanted
it. Yeah. That's kind of the weird thing, right? And I feel like he did have a little bit of a resurgence there in the 2000s, right? I feel like, wasn't Identity in 2000s?
That's before this movie.
Well, that's still 2000s, right?
Yeah, no. He's going strong into the mid 2000s.
Yeah, Hot Tub Time Machine, right? Isn't that
before this movie?
Okay, I'm still. I just went 2000s. I didn't say 2008.
I'm just saying, like
this is coming off the heels of a little resurgence, basically.
This is at the end.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hot Tub Time Machine came after it. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm wrong.
Oh, okay.
Hot Tub Time Machine came 2 years after it. So maybe that was really the end.
Right.
But yeah, eventually everything came direct to video, and he was just like taking paychecks.
Yeah.
Probably more because he's like, I don't know, not interested in doing the stuff he was being offered. I don't know. Or I have no idea.
He really seems to be a kind of guy that is like, I'm just going to do something that I want to do, and otherwise I'm out. Like, he's not interested in Hollywood. He's not interested in it and that kind of stuff. Like, the fame or even that much of a money person. Like I never got that vibe from him.
Yeah, I think he's made his much money to make himself comfortable, and he's like, "This is all I need in life." kind of
Right.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah.
2.5. Gotcha. Yep.
Yeah. So, favorite laugh out loud moments.
Not a lot. Not a lot.
This wasn't a well. This is out of 10 points. This category.
Yeah, it's not going to go very high. I guess the first attempt at hilarity is Dan Aykroyd on the toilet.
I would like to shout out Eastern Arctic #1 night spot.
Yeah,
The bar
I
he
guess I
goes
missed
into
that
the
part.
beginning.
Okay.
Yeah, the bar he goes into the beginning, which is like the middle of nowhere, Canada. It's this Eastern Arctic #1 night spot. I'm like, that was good.
I missed that part. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first thing that I was noticing of some kind of humor was Dan Aykroyd on the toilet, which is just some basic potty humor.
I didn't even write it down for this category, so go on.
I wrote it down. Again,
All right.
I literally just wrote stuff down that I guess is attempts. I did not exactly find this funny. I guess the first thing that kind of made me slightly, I wouldn't even call it audible, but and it's mostly one of the few times that John Cusack comes alive, was his delivery about when he notices Natalie and he's like, "Ooh, like I set up a meeting and bring her to my office. Do I have an office?" And like his little excitement and like kidness comes out and like, "Ooh, do I have an office?" Like I kind of
Okay, I have one thing before that. Well, I guess kind of technically two. When he first makes it into Tarakistan,
yeah.
The "Thank You America" graffiti on the bombed out buildings
Yeah.
made me laugh.
Yeah.
And then the tanks with the ads for the Financial Times, GoldenPalace.com, and Popeye's Chicken.
Yeah, and it comes up later again.
That gave me a legit laugh.
It comes up later again too with the tank with the Golden Palace stuff on it, and it's like it's weird when they do it again later because like all of a sudden tonal shift and they really try to show you like horrors of war type of stuff, like just
horrors of the war,
right?
there,
People getting
in Iraq,
massacred, and they really bring you down, and then all of a sudden the tank comes through with the Golden Palace, and you're like, all right, this is weird though. Like you can't like, I don't know. Like you can't just bring in seriousness and then like ridiculous absurdness comes through it.
No, it feels like, when you were a kid and you took two action figures and just smashed them against each other. That's what this movie feels like a lot of times.
Man, our nephew did it and it hurt, man.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You don't remember that? He would really smash you in when you did that, but yeah.
Okay.
Fair enough.
So the first line that I really enjoyed from Cusack
Yeah.
is where he's talking to Natalie. But the way I look at it is this. The day we can actually feel and hear all the suffering of mankind, that's the day when the Christ will come back. So we got that going for us. Which, it's a funny line, but I would have given all the money to have like Bill Murray. It's just like, Bill Murray just pop in, like, which is nice.
Yeah.
Just finish the line.
I feel like it could have used another attempt at that one myself.
I enjoyed it. I apologize for butchering that while I'm talking about it. I have had a lot of vodka in order to psych myself to talk up about this movie I don't like.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Fuck.
The thing that I have next, I guess, is something that is not funny, and they get close to almost making it funny, but it never quite lands, is the gift bag gag. That throughout the movie, anytime anybody leaves his office, they have to give him a gift bag. You didn't notice that?
No, I noticed it.
Yeah.
I never cracked a smile for that.
No. There was
the only time I cracked a smile is like towards the end of the movie where Joan Cusack tells you what's in the gift bag.
Right. Well, there's a part towards the end, or not towards the end, I guess, but later on in the movie where they're walking out. He's getting disheveled by everything, kind of getting more chaotic. This meeting's come to an end, and then he forgets the gift bag. So then he has to he's kind of and then he runs and grabs the gift bag and gives the guy a quick. And I felt like there was an opportunity to make that funny, but they didn't. It's just maybe if you did a close up more of his mannerisms in his face or something, but it's such this quick almost background shot because you're most focused on the dude's body getting the gift bag, and it's this was just poorly executed. There was an opportunity to make this funny.
Okay, I'm gonna take over this entire category because I feel like you don't have much written down for this thing at all, considering what is going. I'm
allowed to bring the negativity in.
Oh no! I got more. There's plenty of negativity, but I'm we gotta stretch this out into an episode length because this is looking bleak from what I'm hearing from you.
I liked the part where when he does have his first meeting with Natalie and the bomb goes off and she's all and he's just not ignoring it, what he's so desensitized by it, so he's asking her more questions. I thought that was kind of humorous. But you don't remember that part either. Okay, we're catching up.
No, I remember it. I just didn't laugh at it at all, so I couldn't include it in this category. So I'm
well, there's nothing I laughed at. I didn't laugh at anything. I really didn't. There was maybe one other time that I legitimately. There's 2 times that I might have been close to chuckling. That's it.
I think this is going to be easier for me to describe this category just because I've seen the movie before. I was just kind of prepared for the kind of shit show I was.
Yeah.
So I mentioned it the first time, which
did you put down when he goes into Popeyes for the first time?
I wrote down the funny run that he does when he gets down to the basement.
Right. But then they don't do it at the end.
Yeah, I noticed that too. It bothered me.
Which is really weird. So
so he goes into this Popeyes to go and talk to the Viceroy, which is, I guess, his handler in the area.
Well, no, he's supposed to be almost like the governor in charge of sorts of the area.
Right.
But for some odd reason, they give you a very weak explanation of why the identity has to be a secret, which is completely freaking obvious the entire time.
Oh, 100%. Anyway, so when he gets down to the basement of this Popeye's Chicken, which is in the safe zone, the Emerald City.
Well, I like that it's a Popeye's dude that has to be oh, really? Okay. And then he's run, let's go. And then get him in the door. It's clear. They're doing that whole thing before he even gets to the basement.
Yeah, none of that worked for me at all.
No.
Until he gets to the basement and he's surrounded by 4 guards who will funny jog him over to the meeting room.
And he does it too.
Yeah, he does. And it's Cusack. It felt very Monty Python-esque. I was I needed more of this kind of nonsense in the movie.
They needed to go full slapstick.
Yeah.
And that they needed to go full on hot shots, I think, to somewhat make this work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But so I enjoyed that bit. The next thing that actually made me laugh is Tamerlane, the company who runs all this, having amputees who lost their legs.
Oh, yeah. I have that down. I did have that down. Thank you very much.
Tamerlane having amputees who lost their legs to Tamerlane-produced weapons, dancing like the can via Tamerlane-produced prostheses.
Yeah.
Is a hell of a dark joke.
It's pretty dark and funny.
And then Marissa Tomei being in shock and horror looking at it all. Is talk about vertical integration. It's
yeah.
That's good. That felt like a 30 Rock worthy joke there. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. I actually had a couple things before that.
Oh, please go on. I didn't think you would.
The implanted journalist experience, I thought was slightly humorous.
I didn't think it was at all, but I included it in the supporting characters section.
Them implanting them with chips and she's I'm not, dude, ma'am, you won't get the full experience kind of thing. I thought that was kind of funny.
I didn't. They set up an indoor ride for journalists that require a chip implant in their neck so journalists can get the full journalist experience of being on the front line without leaving the comfort of the safety zone.
Yeah.
And this is a great idea for a joke that never got fully baked.
Right.
Basically, the only thing that's funny about it is Marissa Tomei trying to figure out a way to sit comfortably while being in the dark ride.
Right. Well, I mean, it's like
because the whole thing is moving.
Yeah, it's almost like what you will eventually get in some movie theaters, like the bucket seats, and they're moving and reacting to what you're watching and that kind of stuff. And that, I mean, it was like, again, if it was slapstick, maybe the point where the woman like thinks she got hit.
That's the second time we see it.
I know. Yeah. Maybe that would have landed better. Like if it was like an SNL character and it's more slapstick or something. And it was, that's what almost like too. It's like you could have gotten like just like SNL or random other people who are actually comedians and funny to pull off some of this random stuff. Like make the Popeyes person like a, like a comedian or random person that could have pulled that off better.
I bet you it was tough to get the SNL cast over to Bulgaria to film this thing.
I'm just
But you're not wrong.
Right? Yeah.
Like all these bit parts, like if you had gotten actual great comedians to play this, like might have worked.
Maybe up and coming ones. You have to go like name at this point.
Yeah. Now all I'm thinking about is Chris Parnell pretending to be shot in that thing.
Right?
I'm sad.
Exactly.
Anyway,
the part where I guess so what's her name? The pop star
Yannicka Baby.
Yannicka, yeah. So Yannicka and the fiance arrive, right, and he basically hits her over the head or whatever, and then he doesn't like that and basically motions or something. He's like, stop that or whatever, and then he makes like some like threatening comment about like killing people or whatever. Oh no, he says something like, I do whatever I want. He's like, of course you do, and we're excited to have you. And then the guy responds like, don't get too excited. I'm not. Who gives a fuck? Like it was just like that was kind of like a funny exchange from John Cusack.
Yeah, okay. I didn't write it down, but that sounded like a Martin Blankism.
Yeah, it was again one of the few times I felt he came to life.
Right.
There was another exchange with Natalie where he does, I think at the drinks too, where she makes an accusation towards him and he goes, how dare you? Like, what was it? How dare you? I have no politics. Like this, I don't care about that stuff. And again, I thought that was another nice delivery where he came awake again.
Okay. Well, the next thing I want to talk about is Yannicka performing her single for Hauser and Marcia. And boy, the lyrics to this song.
Yeah.
You say you want to invade me, baby. You say you want to enslave me, baby. I want to blow you up.
Yeah. And it's always with disturbing looks.
Yannicka Baby is like this oversexed nonsense character.
Yeah.
Basically in the Britney Spears, whatever, Christina Aguilera type from that era.
Right. And I think this is clearly her attempt, by the way, to kind of break away from her Disney stuff and all that kind of stuff.
Played by Hilary Duff.
Yeah.
Who Tim was a big fan of at the time.
I was?
You knew who she was before I did. So
that doesn't mean like I had a thing for her, but okay. Fair enough.
Tim was watching Lizzie McGuire on the down low.
I had never watched an episode in my life, but okay. Fair enough. But yeah, his facial expressions during that was fun. Doesn't he? Is it that one where he throws up into?
Yeah. So like it goes on. The lyrics get even more ridiculous and going on and on like that. And Hauser is like, almost like breaking his hot sauce bottle, try to getting all of it into the shot glass.
This was the part that I think I ended up thinking was funny with the hot sauce, because doesn't Natalie have to like stop him?
No, Marcia stops him just like
because he's so loud with it. Yeah, he's so loud and it's knocking into the shot glass, and he's got to like stop. Like
and then Yannicka starts performing fellatio on a gas pump handle.
Yeah, gas pump. Yeah.
That puts Hauser over the edge, and he like runs away and pukes into Natalie's coat.
Yeah,
that was good.
Yeah, that was all right. Yeah. Oh, there is a funny line with the by the way, to backtrack slightly, the dancers that lost their limbs. That was a funny Marshall line where it's like, isn't this great? We leave the suffering that we create, or something like that. It was something along those lines. This is pretty funny.
I missed that, but spoiler alert, I guess, for this entire movie. Joan Cusack is my favorite part of this movie.
Yes,
and
she has
a lot more.
She has the part that is the closest to audibly laughing.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly
yep.
right.
Yep. And she is also basically playing the same character from Gross Point Blank.
100%.
Yep.
So Hauser is in position to assassinate Omar Sharif, which for some reason this movie decides to keep on having him try to assassinate him the entire time, even though when he first gets his mission parameters, he's supposed to assassinate him at the end of the show. I don't know. Whatever.
But they also are mad at him throughout the whole time why he hasn't done it yet. So it's confusing.
Yep. It really is. Thank you for being on my side with this, Tim.
Totally.
Really confused.
Totally 100%. Because it doesn't make any sense to me as people are yelling at him. Like
they told him they wanted him to,
because that was the cover
end of this. Yeah, at the wedding or whatever. And he just keeps on trying to kill him before it, and then they're angry at him for not killing him before it. And I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the first time he tries to kill him, it's like on the street, and
he's got a U.S. shoes or something. What was it? And he comes out in like pink or purple Crocs or something.
Right.
Yeah.
I just remember Hauser's got like the jackal set up, Bruce Willis. the big gun, like
I really love and appreciate that you just pulled out that reference. Oddly enough,
Tim can't get enough of Richard Gere's Irish accent.
Oh, I don't know. I can get enough. I can get enough. But that is not the part that I was.
I know
Bruce Willis in that movie. Is great, and that scene with him and Jack Black is pretty phenomenal.
That's a really great scene.
It's really great. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to talk more about Richard Gere's Irish accent in the movie, though?
No. It's definitely the thing that holds that movie back for sure. Like
I am a Richard Gere fan. And listen, I have seen some terrible Irish accents in my day. That's a top 5 one.
It's pretty bad, and it's upsetting because there's so much great about that movie, and everybody's doing such a great job.
What's upsetting to me he's
got to do that next to Sidney Poitier. I mean, you should be upset. Like, oh, why are you doing this next to Sidney Poitier? I'm embarrassed for you. Stop.
That's 100% right.
Yeah.
Proud of you for mentioning that. But yeah. Anyway, I'm angry for poor Tom Cruise, who got like twice the amount of shit that Richard Gere ever got for his Irish accent, and Cruise's Irish accent was way better.
Far and Away was a bigger movie, I guess. I don't think The Jackal ever kind of reached, I guess, a somewhat popularity Far and Away. I don't know.
Just saying.
Maybe.
I have to
Irish listen to Far and Away way too many times too, so I don't know. I could be biased.
I would prefer listening to Tom Cruise's Irish accent, Leonardo DiCaprio's Irish accent, all better than Richard Gere's Irish accent, which is
I think that's fair
to watch.
I think that's fair. I honestly do think that's fair.
Anyway, back to this movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Again.
So, he's in a position to kill Sharif, and it gets interrupted when his dry cleaning gets unexpectedly delivered via tank.
Yeah, and he's like he's putting like a packet of dry coffee in his mouth.
Yeah, the soldier
I need the ticket.
He asks for the claim ticket that Hauser has trouble finding. Meanwhile, there's gunfire going off all around them. This feels like another half-baked joke that just like
again, it could have maybe worked if it was slapstick done.
Yeah, this is one of those like nepotism hires. Like they grabbed although I don't even blame the actor. It's John Cusack's brother, and it's not funny.
It's not, but you could see the attempt. But
maybe Will Ferrell could have pulled it off. That's close to it.
But again, that's the kind of
need
that's what you needed to do
to figure this out.
But I don't even know. That's just the kind of humor you needed to go with this movie, and it's like they completely missed it. I liked the I think it's a scene shortly after where he's meeting with the movie people, the Turkestan movie people.
Yeah, Yannicka's videographers.
Yeah. So there is a line about that I really liked where at one point I think one of them goes, "Michael Bay can blow me," And then he returns and says, he can and he should. That made me laugh. I actually chuckled on that one a little bit. That's the one of the 2 times I laughed.
I gotta think about this one for a second. I don't think Michael Bay was... I don't know if he pissed me off at this point.
I just think it was so funny that he says the line about Michael Bay and then he replies with he can and should. So this is post, so funny.
Post Michael Bay Transformers 1, and I'm still in Michael Bay's corner, so I would have been annoyed when this joke came out.
I still will defend Michael. I think there's some people that are way too on board with anything that Michael Bay does. I'm not completely anti-Michael Bay. I think he's got a corner and there's some good stuff that he still can and
has
does.
Style.
Yeah, and you got to appreciate that because not everybody does. So I'm not a Michael Bay hater of sorts, but I understand the complaints at times and the issues.
I don't hate Michael Bay. I just hate every Transformers movie he makes.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm not gonna. Yep.
So the next scene that I thought was pretty kind of okay is Yannicka comes into the restaurant that Hauser, Natalie, and Omar Sharif are having dinner at.
Yeah.
And what I'm guessing is a bizarre seduction technique.
Sure.
I don't know. Yannicka picks up a scorpion that was in the middle of a scorpion cockfight.
Yeah.
And drops it down her pants.
Yep.
And Cusack's face here is legit funny. Just like what like the bewilderment of like what is she doing and like the horror of what she has done.
But then she sticks her fiance's hand down it to get the scorpion, but then almost implying that she's getting fingered too with it, and it was really, really disturbing.
Right, yeah, that is all like really messed up.
Yeah,
but, like, the comedy comes from Cusack's face.
Of course, yeah.
What?
See, I thought it was better when they're because I think this is when they talk a little bit, or maybe it's right after. I can't remember, where she explains that her mother is dead, and then he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry," and then she replies, "Why? You didn't kill her." But then he gives his face of he has to think about it, whether he did or not, and that I thought was like an A+ delivery. It was like another awakening from him.
Right, yeah, like 90% of the best comedy comes from Cusack's facial expressions.
Right, yeah. Which again, it's like, man, if we had better filmmaking here, you could have zoned in on this more or something, because it's just lacking a lot of times. Like again, like the gift bag stuff. Like if you focused on his frustration or God damn it, the gift bag, and let me, you know what I mean? Like that could have been funnier if you just did that better, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm kind of wondering what else this guy ever did directing. Not a lot.
Not a lot, yeah. Makes sense.
Nothing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Anywho, so my next thing that made me laugh, Joan Cusack. Progress update, people. Banks West didn't even wait for the opening ceremony, closing a $1.3 billion deal with Roof Branch Blossom to restore essential water services to the people of Tajikistan. I'm sure they'd like to give a shout out to the Tamerlane 3rd Bomber Wing for those humane precision strikes that created this wonderful opportunity for everyone.
I agree. That's another one that was a highlight for me for sure. Again, Joan Cusack. Yep.
Yeah, I'm like legitimately even like the few like laugh out loud. Like I am.
That one's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I will also say, I know this is kind of stupid and it shouldn't have got me, and I kind of felt ashamed. But when the fiance, who is usually just annoying and not good throughout,
always annoying, not good,
throughout the whole movie, but I don't know if it just caught me off guard or what. But when he accidentally shoots himself in the ass, I kind of gave a So, just wanted to put that out there.
Were you drunk?
No, really wasn't.
Oh.
But it kind of, I don't know. It got a out of me.
Okay, well, to each their own.
Wow, you don't have to make me feel awful. I hate this movie.
You made me watch it a second time.
We had to watch it eventually. It's on the list. You put it on the list.
Happy with you.
I'm not happy with you. You put it on the list.
I didn't put it on the list. It was on the list because we chose the year, and the wheel chose the year.
That's a real weak argument, Patrick.
But you picked it, so I get to be angry at you.
That's a horseshit argument, but all right.
Hey, if I was picking, this would never have been the one that I picked. So
it was always going to be me? That's not fair.
Yeah.
You backed me in a corner.
I don't give a shit. I'm not happy.
All right, fair enough.
So Hauser hooks Natalie up with Yannika's videographers because she wants to find out about the real Tarakistan.
Right.
What it's like outside of Emerald City Safe Zone. And she stumbles upon them getting ready to produce Yannika's wedding night sex tape.
Yeah.
Which is an okay reference to the Paris Hilton Kim Kardashian sex tape phenomenon.
Right.
That was coming out all the rage at the time.
Yeah.
But it's not funny.
No, it never came off funny. It really didn't.
So I don't know if the joke was supposed to be like the cover art that they show her, like that they had pre-produced.
Yeah, because they were making it before it ever happened.
But there's no punchline.
There's
or
none.
anything
There's none. You're
well,
right.
That's a nice idea.
Right. Again,
I'm sorry. I am including a lot of well, that was
you were getting after me for this earlier, and here you are doing it. But
I'm sorry. To stretch this episode out, I'm going to put in well, I like
it's okay
what you
when
were trying
you
to do
it. It's not
just
okay
wasn't
when
funny.
I do it. Okay.
After a lot of vodka, yeah, that feels right. All right, so
there was an
next time
Anderson Cooper Vanderbilt joke that wasn't funny either. Just putting that out there.
It wasn't.
Okay.
It was just is this supposed to be a criticism of Anderson Cooper or something?
I don't know. And then it comes back again. Anderson Cooper couldn't show.
Or wouldn't show.
Or yeah, and it's just why was this funny? I don't. But anyway.
Yeah, I never thought of him as one of the corporate sellouts, during the whole era, but I might not have been. I kind of tuned out at a certain point during the whole Iraq War.
Yes, I mean it was basically
so
the beginning of the end for that kind of media for me. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't know if he deserved the criticism or not. So the next thing that made me, I don't want to say laugh.
Okay.
Smile.
We'll see.
Cut off the finger I used to wipe my ass.
Oh yeah. Okay. I guess that did not make me laugh, but okay.
No, I didn't say it made me laugh.
Yeah.
Tonight.
No, you're right. I mean, I think they were trying to go for the humor there and the humor of using the wine opener that he keeps playing with preemptively before that fight sequence.
Right.
But
yeah.
it's not very good. And
they certainly foreshadowed the shit out of that.
Right. Yeah. And I also have to mention too. I don't think we mentioned this before. I'm curious the where the budget went because the special effects in this movie, garbage. It's really bad.
I mean, I was gonna say for later, but the movie was made for $10 million. They had no money for special effects.
And it shows. It shows. It's rough.
I'm not gonna complain about that at all.
Oh man, there was some times where I'm like, oh my god. But yeah.
Anyway, so he says this. So this line cut off the finger I used to wipe my ass.
Yeah.
Is spoken by Bodhi Bunheng.
Mm-hmm.
Got all the names in this movie. Who is trying to kill Hauser for trying to make him the fall guy for the Yannicka sex tape.
Right.
Which comes with the punishment of drowning in sheep shit.
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, okay, so another thing where I guess not a lot of money is the dad for the fiance there that spits in his hand and slaps him with it or whatever. Some horrible fat suit work there too. The fat suit that dude was wearing was awful. But there's a moment when they're talking about pinning it on the fiance's friend.
Right.
Right. And then he is a complete, I don't know, what would you call, this archetype. He's like a Rafi mixed with what's his name from Parks and Recreation,
John Ralphio.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like at John Cusack's desk and being a fool. And
you're talking about Yannika's fiance.
No. The dude that they're gonna pin it on.
That one.
Yeah, because the fiance's in the office getting slapped by his dad or whatever. And then Bodhi's is making himself like a fool in the office as they're talking about pinning it on him. So
he's flirting with Marcia.
Right. And then he's doing all this stupid stuff. And then Marcia is like, I have mace and I will use it. And I laughed. That's actually.
Did you?
I did. I actually thought that was amazing delivery. I actually really liked that part from her.
I think you laughed out of like a defensive reflex to this movie. It's like, I am so desperate to laugh, I will laugh at anything at this point.
I don't know.
She's trying her best. It's not a funny line. It's not funny.
It's the delivery. It's the delivery that makes it. She's the only one that makes me laugh anything. If I do make any audible.
Pretty much.
And when I say laugh, and I am not like laughing. Like it's like, I should chuckle if anything. So if I'm doing anything audible, and I said 2 times, and you've already mentioned the other time, this was the other time.
Yeah, this feels like a movie where like the script never got any punch up.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
Can we get like one more pass on this one?
John Cusack is trying.
There's something here. Like, she's trying.
She's trying. There's just not much there.
Literally nobody could have done better.
Yeah.
It's like,
for
sucks.
sure no one could do anything better. But it was that line about the precision airstrike that made me somewhat chuckle, and then it was this one about the mace.
And there's another announcement later that made me laugh. But yeah,
those are the 2 that got closest to anything audible for me.
Okay. Here's the other one that made me laugh. That wasn't a Joan Cusack announcement.
Yeah.
So at some point, and honestly, I might have just started looking at my phone, which bad job on me because I'm supposed to be paying attention to this movie, but it's tough.
It's never a good sight. It's an interesting thing, by the way, that we've come to an era of if you want to explain to somebody that you thought the movie was not interesting enough or boring or whatever, you could be like, well, you know what? I wanted to grab my phone. And that should never be the impulse you have if you're enjoying a movie. And that's an interesting new thing in this society that we have. But yeah, there was a lot of phone grabbing, wanting moments. Yeah.
I definitely didn't do it during Pineapple Express. I'll say
that.
Yeah,
you couldn't even write notes. Super long, but yeah.
Only to write notes that I was grabbing my phone for.
Right.
Anyway, at some point, Natalie is kidnapped and held hostage by Tarakistan terrorists who are actually just Yannika's videographers in quote-unquote disguise.
Right, they were doing it for the movie, for the filming, or whatever they claim later. But yeah,
right. Well, they demand the withdrawal of all the Tamerlane's forces from Tarakistan. Yeah, the dissolution of the criminal Zionist state of Israel, which classic.
Right.
And this is the part that made me laugh. And the acquisition by the Taraki national basketball team of LeBron James for players to be named later.
This is the one thing I remember from the trailer.
I don't remember the trailer at all. But like, there's like this one of the guys, the videographers / terrorists, are like doing a fist pumping at we're gonna get LeBron, which
yeah,
the sports fan in me was like, yeah, that's good. That's
oddly enough, maybe because of the trailer, I don't know, but this one didn't make me laugh.
It got a chuckle out of me. What can I do?
Fair enough.
Did you rewatch the trailer before watching this movie, or just
no? I just remember it.
Recall?
I do. This is what I remember. Because remember, I never saw this movie before.
I know.
So this is all I remembered.
That's even more shocking that you remember the trailer.
I remember the trailer because I remember wanting to see the movie and I never got around to it. Which I mean, it was the right decision. But the thing that actually made me laugh more was right after that was like after their conflict with Hauser. Right, and Hauser
post Power Gloves.
Yeah, post Power Gloves, and Hauser leaves right with Natalie, and then
I have this written down too.
Yeah, and just one of them gives out this line that made me slightly chuckle, was just like, "Fuck, man, that was intense." It's just like,
that was not the thing I thought you were gonna mention. Okay. The thing that got me was after that all interaction with that where he saves Natalie. He goes back to his Humvee.
Oh yeah, yep. I have that after that. Yep.
It's all firebombed, and his wheels are stolen by the kids, who pointed him out to the right hostage location. And they're pissed off because they didn't give him
the candy.
Didn't have candy for the kids. It's like a nice attempt at a bit.
Well, it's actually some historical relevancy because this was actually a thing in some previous American wars where they had to have candy for freaking kids.
Well, yeah, it's been a classic since World War II.
Yep.
But the kids calling him an asshole is good.
Oh yeah,
always enjoy kids swearing.
I agree. I enjoyed that. Right? Like they did pay him, and he paid you, and the kid brought you to what you wanted, but the candy was for not messing with your wheels.
I'm an easy target when it comes to kids swearing.
Fair enough. No, actually, I agree. I think that was a nice moment. It was.
Okay, so after that, so that the car is destroyed, so somehow Hauser has to get Natalie back to the convention center.
Right, and there's more horribleness we're witnessing. There's the tank comes back through with the golden palace.
We just watched the slaughter of unarmed innocents.
Yeah.
But there's this one good background bit, which is honestly the background jokes are the best part of this movie. Some dude is doing the Willem Dafoe pose in front of a firebomb while Hauser and Natalie
the platoon, the full platoon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. I noticed the full platoon, but to me, I didn't think it was funny. To me, I was just like, I rolled my eyes at it.
You know what? A good joke, nod to Platoon. I don't know.
I love
Platoon. I'm searching for stuff at this point.
But yeah, that one made me roll my eyes. I think there was a better background one later.
Go on.
Okay, so the better background, and it comes a bit later in the movie, and I think it's more towards them flying away, I think.
Oh, okay, you're at the very end.
But it was a background thing, so that you see the plane flying over and you see some background of them leaving the country or whatever. And there's this random dude in the middle of the desert that's just wearing a Kevin Garnett jersey.
I do remember that.
And I laughed. I kind of gave a little audible thing on that one. That kind of made me
just laughing at seeing Kevin Garnett jersey.
Well, because the humor. Well, no, yeah, just the humor of how we tend to do as a country, we're helping and we're just giving away crap type of stuff.
It would have been a better joke if it had been you know how we give away
the finals or whatever.
Win?
Congratulations to the one who doesn't win. Yeah, it would have. You're right. It would have been a better joke if they did that. But
if
it still made me laugh.
This year it had been congratulate or
it was 2008, right? So it would be the Lakers. Was that Lakers Celtics that year?
I was gonna go football and say 2008.
Oh yeah,
perfect.
Yep.
19-0 Patriots.
That's so much better. Thank you, Patrick. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah.
19-1. What?
God, who did win the 2008? Was it the Celtics in 2008?
I thought 2008 was Celtics. I thought that was.
So the Celtics or Lakers? That was the.
I thought 2008 was anything is possible.
God, I think you're right. But he's wearing the Garnett jersey, like you said.
He was
he's wearing the Garnett jersey from the Timberwolves.
Was he?
Celtics won in 2008.
Okay.
Lakers won the following year.
Okay. There you go.
Okay.
So I was right. But I didn't realize it was Celtics ones. But yeah. Kobe. Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, yeah, let's backtrack because I jumped ahead.
Well, no, it's the next good joke in the movie, which is also pretty much the last good joke in the movie.
Okay. I might disagree.
Oh, Joan Cusack is back. Okay, a couple of quick announcements.
Yes!
The panel discussion, the redemptive power of the hedge fund derivative, has been moved to the mini ballroom.
Yep.
That's a good joke.
That's a good joke.
Don't forget to go to the meet and greet cocktail reception at the Tiki Lounge at 5 o'clock. Pick up your gift bags. They've got coffee mugs and a desert umbrella, foam beer koozie. Tim would have loved that. And an autographed copy of From You Know Who.
This is the best.
How I Conquered the World and Worked Out Issues with My Dad.
That was the one that made me chuckle. That part was funny.
Joan Cusack again. They really should have done 10 of these throughout the movie or something like that.
Should have.
They have the same energy of Bill Murray's announcements in Meatballs.
Right. Yeah. For sure.
But it's the winner of Guess What We Had for Dinner goes to Tommy who picked some kind of meat.
She had a little bit of a run, but it's amazing that we as a society didn't capitalize on her more. You know what I mean? With the way she could deliver stuff.
I've been thinking about what happened to her post.
What, In and Out?
No. She had
Addams Family Values.
I was gonna say after. Well, that's even before that.
I know, but I'm just saying there's so many good things. Like, how did we not capitalize on this more? Is kind of my point.
We blew it after School of Rock was the last time she got to be great.
She got to be a boring principal though, didn't she?
Right, but he got her drunk and got her
into
that's
true. I forgot about that.
Edge of 17 by Stevie Nicks
and
stuff. But after that, she's stuck on TV and doing voiceover work. I'm no, this is Joan Cusack.
This is wrong. That's what I'm saying. I feel like something should have happened before School of Rock.
Well, yeah, she had stuff before School.
No, I know, but I mean, why didn't we keep this going? I don't know. There's could have been so much more. Because even we talk about the greatness of Grosse Point Blank. That wasn't a big movie.
Well, 3 years before School of Rock, she gets to be Liz in High Fidelity.
Good, but very small part, and also not a big movie.
Then she's in the Toy Story movies, and then she's got Runaway Bride, In and Out, and she got Oscar nominated for In and Out.
In and Out was pretty amazing.
She was great.
She was phenomenal. Especially, I think they used the video of her in the bar sequence in the wedding dress for her. They would show Oscar clips. I feel like that was the scene that they used. So yeah, she's great. She's phenomenal.
Should have won.
Yeah.
All right. Last thing that I will say for this big category here.
Yeah.
Walken trying to kill Hauser by running over him in his wheelchair.
Yes.
And Hauser just calmly stepping out of the way while looking annoyed.
Yeah.
About his attempts to kill him is kind of funny.
It's kind of funny, and there's one line delivery, by Ben Kingsley.
Please go on.
Which is a really, really unfortunate. And I love Ben Kingsley, and obviously
he's one of the greatest living actors.
He could be funny. He could really. We've seen him be hilarious.
Yeah.
So this is really unfortunate.
It's so bad,
and it's really awful. And really, it's just the okay. We're gonna
save it for the supporting characters.
Okay, fine, fair. But there's this one funny part where
give me the funny.
Where it's just the cadence. It's a one time this accent works, but it's
do the accent, Tim. Do it.
No, I can't do it. But I'm pretty sure it's when he's already been blinded, and he just goes, "Fight me like a dude," and it made me laugh.
Fight me like a dude.
Yes, it's just the way that came off was really funny. I don't know. It was but it came off that's the slapstick that should have been throughout this whole thing, and that could have worked. But it was so limited and bad. And
so Tim, out of 10 points, how many points did you give this category of laugh out loud?
2. I gave it a 2.
Wow.
Yeah, it's awful.
How did I become more generous in this?
I know, and you're the one ripping on me. What'd you do?
I gave it a 3.
Wow! It's 1 point, but still.
No. That's how unfunny this movie is.
It's
Tim
not
was
good.
Insulted by me giving it a 3.
I know, and you were getting on my case about it. But yeah, no, this movie's not funny. It's not funny, and I gave it the 2 points because the few times John Cusack came alive, and the couple of times that Joan Cusack got me to audible a couple of times, right? And then again, yeah, the one Ben Kingsley delivery, that's about it.
All hail Joan Cusack.
Joan Cusack is a treasure. But again, it's unfortunate because again, I like John Cusack so much. He's so incredibly charismatic and likable, and Ben Kingsley is just it's even more upsetting because dude is good and funny and so undeserving of this.
Yeah, it's it doesn't work from top to bottom. This is bad.
None of this works. None of it.
Anyway, so supporting characters.
Yeah, side characters.
Supporting characters.
I just did side.
Supporting.
Well, that's what you've done before to me, but okay, fine, whatever. Marissa Tomei as Natalie, whatever gobbledygook garbage name.
I was going to start with Dan Aykroyd.
Fair, he's the first one to pop up.
Yeah, as the basically how he did this.
He's just vice president.
Dan Aykroyd's the former vice president, now just the president, I think, of Tamerlane? I'm not sure.
I don't know. He pops up twice.
An obvious Dick Cheney riff, and not a particularly funny one.
No.
I cracked a smile at we didn't liberate these people for them to build their own pipeline.
Right. I think to be honest, I don't think they gave him much to go on, right?
They certainly did not.
Like his first scene really is just like, you're going to be on a toilet and that's how we're going to make this funnier. And there's one line delivery about what you just said, and then maybe another line delivery about maybe him dropping the toilet paper or something. I can't remember, like something kind of stupid poop humor. It doesn't really hit. And then I guess he does a similar thing at the end when he gives a toast and he like spills alcohol or something on himself during the toast video. And that's about it.
Didn't even let him get to shout popcorn. Didn't really feel like a spiritual sequel for Dan Aykroyd here.
Yeah.
Gross Point Blank.
I know.
Moving on to funnier stuff. Joan Cusack plays Hauser's assistant.
Highlight.
And undercover accomplice Marsha Dillon.
Not enough of her.
I'm guessing the Marsha Dillon character name was supposed to be a joke. Marshall Dillon, which was like the lead character in Gunsmoke.
Oh.
Which was a show in the 60s.
Okay, didn't pick up on that. All right, fair enough.
It's not funny.
No.
It's just there, but okay.
What's also depressing is like, she's like, I guess the highlight of the movie, if you're going to have one, she has the best comedy parts, which is sad. And she's so much better in Grosse Pointe Blank. Again, sorry to bring that up again, but so much better.
It's fair to always reference Grosse Pointe Blank in this movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, Hauser reading off Dylan's resume and saying, that's very impressive. That's very impressive.
Oh, yeah.
Dylan responding, well, it's fake.
Yeah. I had that down too. That is actually a funny part.
It's a really good line delivery for Joan.
Yep.
Like, Joan is like, she's hitting 1,000, but she only gets a couple of bats. It's like,
And it's a bummer too at the end when she's in the control room, because that should have been so much better. Again, it was like missed opportunities of that should be better.
You definitely want to shake someone, like, give her something to do here.
Yeah, like there's so much more you could have her do of what she's done earlier that could have made that better, and it just
did the control room seem like it was like on a mobile vehicle of some kind?
It did,
like,
which I feel like is kind of the shtick. I feel like for a lot of like,
but like it's never followed up on. Like, we never see the outside or anything like that. She's just in a tiny room. Like, what is going on?
Which again, I guess budget constraints. So. But regardless, you could have given her more to go on or something with that.
You should have had her do those updates throughout the entire movie.
Right.
Like, there should have been like 5 or 6 of them.
Trying to dictate directions to people or something and let her griff, let her go. And it just was, it wasn't disappointing.
So you got Marissa Tomei playing journalist Natalie Hagelhusen.
Right, and they quickly drop the name because it's like they realize it's stupid. I don't know. It was weird.
I guess the name's supposed to be a joke.
They let her, I guess, try comedy with her dance. And then not again until the end, really.
She should be in a musical or something, because Natalie... I'm sorry, I'm calling Natalie. Marissa Tomei's got moves. She did well in the dancing scene. She looked good when she was doing it. She looked natural.
I think that's what's upsetting about her in this movie is obviously...
We've seen her be funny.
She's very funny. For being funny. Yeah, she's very funny. She's a great actress. She could do a lot, and she is not allowed to, basically, this whole movie.
No.
Maybe a little bit at the end when things go really off the rails, right? Maybe she starts to wear like the basically baby prostitute outfits and she grabs a gun and it's like there's something here you probably could have gone on, but they never did. So
yeah, Hauser can't get her name right.
So
they agree to just call her Natalie. It's funny.
Sure. Sure.
We already talked about the indoor ride, so we don't need to go more into that.
Nope. That's about it, bud. That's about it. That's about that one.
That's all I had to say about her character.
Yep, that's it.
Then we got Hilary Duff as Yannicka. Baby Yeah,
Right.
an oversexed pop star in the Britney Spears mold, but with a Eurasian accent.
Right.
Hilary Duff does the best she can.
There's nothing there to do.
I hold nothing against her for this.
She's supposed to basically be this oversexed person and be ridiculous, but she's never really given more than that. And
it's all one note, and it's
right.
It's fine.
And again, like a lot of this stuff it just doesn't like the scorpion down the pants thing. I didn't think that was that funny. So I don't know.
Well, it's Cusack's reaction to it is funny.
Right, but like again, like I don't know. The only time I feel like she's a little bit given anything is at the very end when the non-surprise secrets are revealed.
Well, you can say right here, we find out that she is in fact daughter. Hauser's long-lost daughter, which I guess is why Hauser is instinctively repulsed at her when she's overly sexual.
Obviously, she's somewhat into him for whatever odd reason. She interprets that as sex because that's how she's been raised, I guess. Whatever, sure. And then like you find out like she does have a dad and be happy with her, but she doesn't know her dad and has. It really feels like it's a hat on. This character feels like a hat on a hat because like we're trying to do all this like commentary on the foreign wars that America is right and Americanization and pushing Americanization onto cultures type of stuff.
Right, and then we're also going to do this like this one character, prominent character, as a commentary on the over-sexualization of teen pop stars. Like,
right,
too far. We don't need this.
Right,
doesn't fit with everything else.
Exactly, and then to take it back to it being his daughter is just like this was too much. No. You could have easily made this if you were uncomfortable by the age gap. You could have easily did this for Your Eyes Only, James Bond, and called it a day. You could have,
BB.
Yeah, you could have done that, and it would have been fine. You didn't have to make it her daughter. You know,
we're gonna have to do a Bond season at some point too.
We're gonna have to probably do a Bond season. Yeah, maybe we don't do because there's plenty of Bond movies at this point. Maybe we just keep it to decades. I don't know, but maybe that makes some seasons too short. I don't know.
Sounds more fun than talking about this movie.
That's for sure. Because what else do you got on side characters, man?
Well, Ben Kingsley is walking. Hauser's CIA boss, who I guess is a little in love with Hauser.
Yeah, because he tries to kiss him.
Yeah, because of how good Hauser is at killing.
I guess. Yeah, I actually thought he tried to bite him, but then later he admits that he tried to kiss him. So it's like, oh,
he tries. Okay. He says, "I tried to kiss you," but it looked like he licked him.
I thought he went to bite him. That's what because the reaction he gives, I thought was a bite type reaction, but I guess it was a lick. I don't know.
That's how I saw it as a lick, but he called it a kiss.
Yeah, so, whatever. It's weird.
He's not given much that's like actually funny, but also it doesn't make the bad material even remotely funny.
Right.
And his vague Texas accent is just like, is this supposed to be the joke?
I guess. And they don't even like the whatever voice modulation, they keep the same cadence accent thing. It's just clearly still been, it's like, yeah, well, we're not hiding this at all.
When we're hiding, they like chipmunk his voice when they're like quote unquote hiding him.
But it's so clearly the same thing. Yeah, and it's like everything with him that is clearly him. Everything with that it's going to be his daughter. Like everything is so telecasted. It's ridiculous.
Right. So like. He reveals I can't remember the exact order of events, but Walken killed Hauser's wife and stole his child. And at some other point, I don't know if it was before or after, Hauser and Walken fought over Hauser trying to quit, and Hauser crushes Walken in the back of a garbage truck.
Right. It's like some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles thing weird. I don't know.
Thank you! Yes, I was about to reference Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Thank you. Anyway,
such a better movie!
Unlike Shredder, yeah, it really is. Unlike Shredder, Walken gets turned into a paraplegic.
Yeah.
And I guess I enjoyed Walken telling Hauser that he controls his wheelchair and all the controls in his lair by blinking.
Oh, so yeah, with his eyes, so he douses him with the hot sauce.
Yeah, like an entire bottle of hot sauce.
Which again is like so like, oh, good thing we've had this thing around for this story. Like, Oh my god.
And that's all I've written about supporting characters.
Good. That's all I have too. It's a 2 at best again.
I also gave it a 2 entirely because of Joan Cusack.
Yeah. Yep. Totally. I gave it a high score of a 6.
I have a 7.5. Yeah.
Wow! Wait a minute. You're more than a half point now. Oh
Yeah,
my God.
you were doing the math wrong.
I was doing the math. Oh, well, that makes sense. I'm a social studies teacher, not a math teacher.
2.5 plus 3. That's 5.5, and 2.
How in the world did you go higher on this movie than me?
I really don't know. But regardless,
That is upsetting.
mostly because of, I don't know, sentimentality over John and Joan Cusack.
At least you admit it.
Yeah, the budget of this movie is $10 million and worldwide gross of a little over $1.2 million. Oh, this is one of your favorite part. It debuted at number 46 at the box office. It lost.
Oh yeah, what did it lose to? This could be a long list there, dude.
I didn't look like the entire list. It lost to
You
Indiana
get on me
Jones.
about lists. How long are you gonna go on this one?
I did not go long at all. I went just the first one. It lost to Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which also came out the same weekend, and so many more movies. So that's it. That's all I have to say about this terrible movie.
Terrible.
Let's never talk about it
Well,
again.
it is an awful movie. So it is your pick, sir.
So I want to watch something that's actually funny
It's fair after this. I totally get that.
and a better satire. So we're gonna watch Burn After Reading.
Okay. All right. I wasn't expecting that this early already. Yeah. Okay. All right. That is it for us. Please show your support for the podcast by leaving a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, where you happen to listen to the show. Also, sharing is caring. Be sure to follow us on social media to get the latest show updates. You can contact us by emailing at filmbrochamp@gmail.com or find us by searching for the hashtag FilmBroChamp. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Film Bros Championship Podcast. Peace out, everyone.
Watch Grosse Pointe Blank. Don't ever watch this movie.